So fonts, let me just write the syntax here. Oops, what's happening this? Yeah, so fonts, why do we use the font property? Okay, the font, the name itself says like font is something related to the text. Okay, so defaultly whenever I type something on the web page, okay, it shows me a default font. Like say you guys know Times New Roman is a font family. I say it belongs to a particular set of family, and say Arial is a font family, Georgia is a font family, and Comic Sans is a font family. So what if I want to use a different font family, not like the regular one? I guess the regular one is maybe Arial. I don't exactly know, Arial or sans serif, I guess. So what if I want to use a different set of font? Like there are some tons of fonts available online, so what if I wanted to use them here? So that's where the font property comes into the picture. Now again, when do we use again font? So I'll just type here, font is used to change the font family of the content of the selector, and now onwards I'll just call it as selector. Okay, so again, where do we use font? Like font is used to change the size of the font or the size of the content of the selector again. So again, it's used to bold something, to italicize something. Okay, to make something italic, we use again font property, and again we use font property to increase or decrease the width of the font, width of the content. So that's all where we use the font property. So the general syntax of the font property will look something like this. Every time selector, every rule is applied on a selector may be a tag, a class name, or an id name. We've been discussing about this selectors since 3 days. So how do I give? I say font family here. So what kind of font family I want to use? If I don't use any font family, it takes the default font family of the browser. So whatever the default font family the browser has, it takes in and applies to it. Now if I want to use a different set of font family, and there is this font family, browser has some default font families within it. Like it can support actually defaultly, like default in the sense for the whole font family we'll see how to write our own font families, but the browser has a bunch of font families where it picks one default and applies to it if I don't give any font family. But what if browser among that group I want to pick another one and just apply the font family? How do you do? Just give the name of the font family, like say Georgia is the name of the font family, Times New Roman is another font family, Helvetica is another font family. So like such I can give multiple font families too, like say sans serif. So it says like this particular family belongs to sans serif. Okay, to those guys who don't know what is sans serif and monolithic font, I guess. So these are like a bunch of font families which have a typical calligraphy, typical styling. Okay, we don't want to go deep into this topic, like what exactly a font family is, but we only learn how do we change it. How do we change the font of a particular selector? That's what our intention is, to learn only that, not to go deep into these font families. So it's of no use to us too. We're not designers, and I told previously that our concentration is more on developing, and these things can be done pretty easily. I'll tell you how these things are done actually. Okay, so font family, this is how I gave a font family. Then I said a font size. Font size is a number followed by pixel or em or centimeter or points or inches, whatever. It's the size. What do you want the size to be in? You want to be in a pixel. Em stands for m. It's something like pixels by 16 is em. So if I say 40 pixels, then 40 by 16 em. So it's just like that. It doesn't have any significance, but em is a one kind of dimension, I say. Okay, or I can give percentages too. We have seen these percentages, how we give the percentages, or I can give percentages for the font size. Then there is font variant. Font variant is like, do you want to capitalize this stuff, or you want to use the normal things. So normal is being the default, then the other one is the small caps. We'll just see as an example how this small caps and the normal actually work. Then there is one more called font weight. Font weight is actually used to check the width of the thing. Like say I can go like font weight can be bold, bolder, like more bolder, and lighter. Lighter is nothing but normal, lighter than the normal guy. And as usual, the default is normal. And there is a metric system like 100, 200, 300 up to 900 I can give, like 100 being the lighter, 900 being the bolder. So I can even say bolder as 900, lighter as 100, and whatever is in between is like bold, normal, light, whatever. Okay, so it's a font weight. And we have one more thing here, it's called font style. Font style is nothing but, do you want it bold? Again, it's same as the font weight, but one more thing added here, it's called italic or oblique. So this is the whole font thing. Like font has five again sub properties, I say them. It's a single font, but it has five sub properties, like a family, a size, a variant, a weight, and a style. Right, there is no proper order for this. You can give anywhere. If you don't give anything, it takes the default things. If you give something, yeah, it does take that. Now yesterday we had talked about the background shorthand property. You guys remember? If you can remember, it's more than appreciated. So even font has a shorthand property, just like the background. So how do we do it? It's like selector in a single line. Shorthand is nothing but single hand, like in a single line, I'm sorry. So the first order, it, as I said like yesterday, the background property follows an order. So even this guy follows an order. You gotta give style first, then variant, then weight, then you gotta give size, then the font family. So this is the order it follows for the shorthand property. For the for individual properties, you can give it in any order. If you don't give anything there, it takes the default things. So this is a font property. So let me just move this guy to here. So let's go ahead and see an example how the font property works. So I'm going to share my screen here. So let's see how does it work. Oops, got stuck. Well, can you guys see the screen? If you guys can see the screen, I'll just go ahead and start typing the program there. Chinmay, can you see my screen? Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Chinmay? Cool, fantastic. I just moved my microphone, I guess that's the reason. Let me just tie this down to my neck. This looks great. Fine, so let's go ahead and start doing some examples here in the font. So well, it always starts with the doc type. Doc type is the one which says the browser that what kind of version, HTML version I'm using. When I say doc type HTML, it means I'm using HTML5 version. And every HTML tag, HTML page starts with a HTML tag, and inside which there are two parts. The first one is head. Head takes all the things which are run in the background, like say styles. I won't be able to see the style tag, but I can see it being applied. So those things are always given inside the head, and the body is the actual content of the HTML page. So here is the body, and inside the head, let me just go ahead and give a title. I already discussed the title tag for. So let's say Tutoslive CSS font property. So here, let me just write heading h1. Let's say welcome to Tutoslive. Today's class is about CSS font property. I'm saving this. I'm going to the desktop. So where is it? Tutoslive, and I'll say here font.html. Let's say. Well, let's go ahead to the browser here. Where is it? That's here. Oops. Tutoslive. It's font.html. Yeah, fantastic. It comes on the web page. Now let's see how do we apply the fonts actually. So I don't know exactly what's the default font. I can go ahead and just check that, and I'll tell you guys. Well, there's nothing it says, but yeah, let's go ahead and start giving styles to it. So I say style. So I always give internal styles because I already told you that I'm more comfortable with internal styles. So I'll give h1. H1 is a selector here, which is a tag. So I'll say I don't want that that font family. I want Georgia. Let's say I don't know if Georgia appear. Oops. Georgia is a kind of font here, so it belongs to, I guess, sans serif. I don't even exactly know to what kind of family it belongs to. So let's see if the font size changes. Yeah, it does change. So this is how I change the font family. Like if I don't like something over there, then I can just definitely go here and just give it. And let's give one more paragraph here. So I'll write some default content. Let me just borrow some content from here. Some. So yeah, I told you yesterday that lorem ipsum is the content generator, when people don't have something to write, they just go ahead and say. Let's see if there is. Okay. So let me just copy this here. Well, so I'm copying it here. Let's go ahead to the browser and see how does it look like. I can see here this is the default font of the browser, whereas this is the one which I have modified right now, giving it as Georgia. Now let me give this to be Georgia too. I want this particular to be applied to the whole of body, so I can say body here instead of previously I had h1 there. Now I'm giving body because I want it everywhere. Now see it's everywhere. You see that? So that's how I change the font family. I can give any font family, and we'll talk, like, there are so many free fonts out in the world. Like Google recently is giving away free fonts, like some fantastic free fonts. We'll see once when we talk about the external style shapes. How do we take these Google's fonts and use in our web pages? So until then, just bear with me with the default fonts of the browser. So it means like, the browser supports Georgia. That means like, even if I give Georgia, browser understands, okay, this is the font family I have inside me, so this guy is just pulling it up and using it. So yeah, just let me just go ahead and use it up. That's what it says. It thinks actually. I can give impact. Let's see if this supports impact too. Yeah, it does support impact too. Yeah. So that's how the font family is given. Okay, you can go ahead and search for the font family, whatever font families you want to use it. So impact is there, and so let's do one thing. Let's use impact for the headings, and for the paragraph, let me use Georgia because Georgia looks pretty good. Georgia and sans serif. So let's just go here, refresh. Yeah, this is pretty good. I suppose it can be done better too, but as of now, yeah, let's just stop here and use these default font families which we got here. Now I want to see bold of this. Like how do we make this bold? Let's use the